All right. Welcome back, everybody, to the YouTube Gamers Academy. I know you're used to seeing me on screen, but this time around we're looking at my desktop. And that's because I'm bringing you the promised video where I share some tips, tricks, and tools with you. So the whole goal of today's video is really to give your channel an edge. There's a lot of people on YouTube who are doing their thing and seeing, moderate to great success, but a lot of them may not know some of the things that I'm going to share with you today that will hopefully, like I said, give you an edge in the content that you're creating and also hopefully help inform your content strategy, but then also give some power, give some legs to the strategy as you implement it. And one other thing I want to pull up here, because I know I've mentioned it in other videos, is I want to go to TubeBuddy, because I know I had talked about this in a previous video. But just to show you that this exists, this is also going to be one of the tools I'm going to walk you through today. But I want to start with tools, then we'll get into the tips and the tricks, some things that I've picked up along the way, some things that other people have taught me, and a couple of things that have helped me get moderate success. You guys know I use the term success very relatively because it's going to be different for all of us. Our growth trajectories are all going to be different based upon our content strategies. I've kind of hammered the point home that the content and the audience that I've focused on as a gamer has been a very small niche. So I've been working to master a very small group of potential viewers before, even though it looks like on my channel there's been a lot of chaos because I've experimented with a lot of different things. The truth of the matter is I have focused on an area where there's not a huge amount of demand, but I'm trying to satisfy that demand and really own that space on YouTube. Like I want Alloy 7 to be known as the channel that is the advocate for the gaming community, to bring it closer together with good ideas, sharing good ideas that help creators, but also help the gamers that make up the community that we love so much. So when I say success, understand that, I'm talking in relative terms, but there's some things that have definitely helped what my channel does see what I consider to be really great success, sometimes just moderate success. And some of it is still, the verdict is still out, because everything is linear in terms of time with what we're doing on YouTube. Some of the things that I have kind of in the oven right now, we're still waiting to see how that's going to pan out over the next couple of years. So I want to start with the tools, kind of show you some of the things I'm using to help inform my content strategy, or in this case, more my content tactics, because my strategy is pretty well solidified. But when I'm picking individual videos, what am I using to inform that? When I'm picking the very specific keywords and key phrases that I want to target, what am I using to inform that? When I'm picking the games that I want to play more tactically on the channel, what am I using to inform that? So that's what I mean by tools. And then TubeBuddy, really just a way to keep up, to have a report card for the content that you're making, but also having a way to do things on your channel more easily. Like, for example, you can wholesale change tags and parts of your description using the TubeBuddy tool. It's something, I'm a partner with Broadband TV. I think that's the name of it, Broadband TV, but TGN is what everybody knows it as, but TGN is actually part of a bigger company. And I have a tool that they give me where I can manipulate all of my content without ever having to go on YouTube. I don't use it all the time, but the tool is useful in terms of, I can see how many, just at a quick glance, I can see which videos are getting the most subscribers per view. So you guys have heard me in previous videos talk about the attach rate of some of the videos. Like I talk about Angry Joe, how he has 100% attach rate, where, if he has 1 million subscribers, he usually gets 1 million to over 1 million views. So in some cases, like his Witcher 3 video, if he still has 1 million, I can't remember if he has 1 million or 2 million subscribers at this point, but let's just say he has 1 million and his Witcher 3 review does 3 million views. Well, then he's got a 300% attach rate, like a 1-for-1. Basically 1 view per subscriber, where usually with entertainment content, you can expect, if you're doing well, you're going to have a 15% attach rate. Like that's kind of the barometer that YouTube and all of its gurus have come up with, to say if you're doing 15% of your subscribers on every video, then you're pretty much successful. If you're Angry Joe, then you're violently successful in terms. I mean, he can put out a video and 1 million people are just going to watch it, with very few. Like if you compare him to actually PewDiePie, in a sense, he does better, because whereas PewDiePie puts out way more videos and gets way more watch time and stuff, PewDiePie has 40 million people watching his channel. Joe has 2 million, and and it's not that it's all 2 million of his people watching his videos. In some cases, and probably a lot of cases, it's probably not subscribers watching his content. But the fact of the matter is he's still getting 2 to 3 million views depending on the video that he does. So that's really good. But anyway, not to digress any further than that, I want to take you through some of the tools. We're going to go over a couple of those here, and then I will take you through a handful of tips and tricks. If you guys have been paying close attention to my channel, like if you've watched some of my live streams, some of these tricks, you're going to be like, oh, that's what he was doing. Like, now I get it. And it's not necessarily something you need to use all the time with some of the tricks. I certainly don't use it all the time, but I do use it in very specific situations where I want to give my videos a boost in watch time and in ranking. So with that said, let's jump into the tools. The first one we have here is the AdWords. This is the keyword search tool. More specifically, this is the one that allows us to check not only the average monthly searches, which I'm kind of mousing over here on screen, but also the competition. So you'll see 24.9 million here, and then you'll see that the competition is low for the search term Minecraft. Now, when you go into AdWords and you log in, this is not what you're going to see immediately. You're going to have to start a campaign and just get to the point of the campaign where it lets you into this back end, but don't pay the money. Like, don't actually establish the campaign to charge you for the ads that you're setting up. But take the campaign far enough without paying that it will let you get into. So now when I log into Google AdWords, this is where it takes me every time. Okay. Usually if you go to Google AdWords, like I can't even get it to take me to the old page anymore. It always takes me directly here. And actually it doesn't take me to the tool. It takes me to my campaigns, but we're in the tool right now. This is what I wanted to show you. And you could pretty much do anything. So for example, if I wanted to do division or the division beta, right? That was one of the things that I did recently. And we've got 135,000 people, average monthly searches. And this is Google search, by the way. It's not necessarily focusing on YouTube. This is what Google is doing, but it's still a good barometer for what's happening on the internet as a whole, right? So what if I do division beta walkthrough? Because that was what I targeted. And if I remember correctly, I don't know if that even has any average searches. Yeah, it doesn't. So, but I know in Google, this is not going to be a thing, but in YouTube, it most certainly is. Okay, so this isn't measuring YouTube, it's measuring Google, but it still gives you a good idea, at least at a higher level. So for example, Minecraft, as we saw a moment ago, I think did an average of 24 million searches, right? What if I do Minecraft Redstone? There you go, 33,000. So it takes it down considerably, but let's do one of the ones that I have targeted, which is Minecraft role-playing. And this is in Google search. It's a little bit higher probably on YouTube, but 70 people search for this. And this is where I stop and pause and say, okay, if 70 people are searching for this, the volume is very low. And the competition is very low. So what they mean by competition in this tool is how many people across the world are bidding for ads using Minecraft role-playing. Well, the answer is none. Nobody's trying to take out ads on a Minecraft role-playing, video game that they've created or anything like that. But what this shows me here is that if I'm smart about how I place my content, if this were YouTube and not Google, because trying to place for this in Google would be insane. But on YouTube, let's say it was 70 people, even though I believe it's quite a bit more than that. Theoretically, I could get 70 million or 70 people. I could get all of that search traffic. And that's really where you want to focus, is not necessarily on the 24 million, because you're never going to rank for that. It's too competitive in terms of search, even if it's low in terms of competition here. That's talking about ad space. But it's still relatively high competition in terms of search. So I wouldn't try to do Minecraft, but I would do Minecraft role-playing because I'd have an easier time competing for that. So if you notice, Minecraft role-playing is one of the search terms that I target with our Minecraft series that we do every Saturday night. And what you'll notice is while we're streaming, our videos are usually in second place behind somebody that has, I think, 6 million views or something like that for a Minecraft role-playing video. I forgot who the guy is. It's not Sky Does Minecraft. It's one of the other Minecraft people. I don't really know the Minecraft people very well because I'm not big into the Minecraft community. I just enjoy the game. So that's something that helps us out in terms of search over time as we continue to gain authority and gain more and more watch time and audience retention making those videos. YouTube will start to say, wait a minute, this guy's starting to get a little bit of authority here. He's getting, 10,000 minutes of watch time every week when he broadcasts, which isn't huge, but it's big for his channel, but he's consistent. Maybe some of these videos will begin to rank, things of that nature. Okay, so that's just one example. We could also do something that I do rank for, which is The Witcher 3 review. Let's just take a look at that. So in Google search, you can assume 49,000 people are going to be looking for that. In YouTube, it's probably going to be relatively, I'd say, a little bit less than that, maybe, just based on the amount of views, because my video ranks anywhere from 3rd to 5th, depending on time of day and how many views I got that day and how much overall watch time I was able to garner. So even if it's 49,000, I was doing about 1,000 views every 3 days or so. I don't know where it's at the time of this recording. But again, this is where I'm coming to figure out what do I want to do in terms of my specific keyword searches. And if you're still in the phase of doing your, if you're still doing your content and SEO strategy, this is an excellent tool to help you flesh out the overarching keywords that you want to rank for. So it's a great place to come and figure out, okay, and I used it too when I did my content strategy, or I should say when I revamped it, because it was, when I came up with the stuff I'm sharing with you now, it was quite a bit different than when I first started the channel, just focused on game reviews. So I came here, it was like, okay, let's look up YouTube policy, all right? And as you can see, there are not a whole lot of people looking up YouTube policy. I think in one of the earlier videos I did, I said that there was several million people looking at YouTube policy. I was looking at the wrong thing. But the point of the video is still valid in that this is something that I could target. In other words, because there's 590 people looking for it, competition is low. And actually, just for the fun of the game, let's go to Google and type in YouTube policy, right? Okay, so you got YouTube's Policy Center, you got some Donald Trump stuff here. So nothing from Alloy 7 really coming up here in those 590 searches. But if we go back to the keyword tool and look up something that I do, I don't know if this actually gets a ton. So 20 people come looking for YouTube gaming policy every single month. Not a great number of people, but the good news is, guess who comes up first? So Google comes up first, but guess who comes up with the first video? Yours truly. Okay, and then I think if you scroll down, you might run into some of my stuff down here. So yeah, we're not ranking up there with Polygon just yet, but we are here, and my video is ranked first, where I am explaining the YouTube gaming monetization policy. And actually, let's look at what YouTube calls it. So they call it the video game and software content. Let's see if that is a search term that people look for. No, it's not. But again, YouTube policy, YouTube gaming policy. That was something that I targeted with my channel, knowing that a million people were not going to come looking for it because the niche that I serve is relatively small, and people looking up this information are not going to be in great numbers every month. But I guarantee you, those 20 people that come looking for that every month aren't the first thing they're going to click on is that video, because they're going to see the support.google, like, I don't want to read, some dude is explaining it to me, let me just click on that. So again, thinking strategically and tactically kind of in unison here. But this tool is excellent for being able to help you shape out a content strategy and SEO strategy, but also when you get to your tactics, trying to figure out how you are going to deal with, let's do this one here, 5 review. So nobody's looking for that yet because the game is not out in the United States yet. But I guarantee there's people on YouTube looking for that. So Google, it's going to be a nightmare. And the only reason I'm showing up down here is because I'm logged in. So one of the things I didn't touch on in the earlier stages of the SEO series is Google Plus, when I was talking about social media, also helps you to be on Google Plus. The reason why it helps you is if you can get a lot of people following you. Like, I think my Google Plus page has over 1 million people who have come and watched it or looked at it. And if they follow me, anything that I've done related to what they're searching for in Google search, my stuff's going to come up if I've posted it on Google Plus. So that's one area where Google Plus is extremely valuable to you, is that if you have a lot of people following you, your stuff's going to show up in their search. So it's not going to show up for everybody in the world, but it will show up for people who are following you. So with that in mind, let's come back here to the keyword search tool. Let's just do Star Ocean 5. Let's see if anybody's searching for that. Yeah, still not a ton of people, 22,000. Once that releases here in the States, that will go up. And if you noticed, I've actually strategically placed some Star Ocean content to begin giving my channel some authority for the search term Star Ocean 5 and Star Ocean 5 review, so that when I finally do drop my review, I'll already have some authority and be able to garner by getting good links. You know, we talked about, you know, in the What is SEO video, we talked about how valuable links are in Google search, but they're also valuable in YouTube search. So when I start to get links from places like Reddit and NeoGAF and other places where my video will be, that will give it even more authority, potentially to the point where, depending if Square Enix actually gives me early access to it, I'm not sure if that's going to happen yet. But if they do, I'll be able to get my review up early and be able to compete with the IGNs. So I'm really, one of the things I'm banking on this year is that I'm going to get early enough access to the game and be able to do what I call launch jacking, which is one of the tricks I'm going to show you here a little bit later in the video. But even if I can't do launch jacking, I can do a thing called aftermarket jacking, which we're also going to talk about as a trick later here in the video. So I think we have beat this horse to death. Definitely get access to this tool, make it your friend, use it every day, or every day that you're doing any type of SEO planning. Definitely use this thing here. Now, one of the questions I get fairly often, to kind of shift gears here, still talking about tools, but we're talking about, in this case, one of the questions I get all the time is, how do you decide what games you're going to play? Now, for me, I typically decide what game I'm going to play based upon what I want to play, but I'm also smart about it. I know that the game I'm going to play has to serve my who, or serve the niche, the target audience that I'm going after. So I'm probably not going to review Final Fantasy 1. You feel what I'm saying? Like, even if that were my favorite game, and it's not, I hate it, for the 15 minutes that I played it, it's not one of my favorite games. I don't really like it that much, but I'm probably not going to review that. That's a little bit too obscure, right? So what I do, and what I've advised a lot of other people to do, is find the game that you really love to play, but also has some type of trend attached to it. So how do we figure out what those trends are in terms of picking what games to play? One of the first places I start is here with Google Trends. Now, I will tell you, once you come in, this is trends.google.com. If you're trying to figure out how to get here, I'm kind of already knee deep in it, so this isn't the home page. But if you click on this little menu bar here, and you can click on what's trending on YouTube, because when you get here, this is what you're going to see. You're going to see the home page, which is going to have, hey, somebody just logged into the Academy and had something to say. What's up, Adam? How you doing? You know, this is going to be what's trending on Google. But because we're doing YouTube, and what's trending on Google is fine, but I'm not really going to find too much of anything here that I can tie to gaming. You know, it's very rare that something gaming related makes it onto this page. And if it does, at least for me and my target audience, it's almost never something that I want to make a video about. So I have to switch it over to what's trending on YouTube here, right? And that's going to show me a little bit different. So we've got the Demi Lovato video, which has been extremely popular for the last couple of days with 3 million views. But look, you've got trending in Google, Minecraft trends tremendously. So you got Burning Star Wars. You've got Super Mario Makers in the trending area, turned into cake. I can't even, it's Diamond Minecart, but I can't figure out, oh, he's playing Roblox. Looper Duper, Project Wheels. I haven't even heard of some of these games. Clearly, I'm not a big trendy guy. But as you can see, a lot of gaming related stuff trends pretty well on YouTube, right? So let's come down here a little bit further. We got some more Minecraft action. So now you can see why it's a good idea to incorporate Minecraft content in some way on your channel. Granted, it's probably not going to show up here in the top 100 things that are trending. Not to say that you couldn't do something that trends, but it would be very hard to do if your channel doesn't have the authority that some of these channels have to be able to generate millions of views, you know, basically the day they post them. But it's good to know what's hot, Okay, this is going to give you an idea, not just what's trending in terms of video games, but what is trending on YouTube, period. And so what I want you all to do when you're doing this research, and I definitely do want you to do research, especially if you're still in the coming up with your content strategy phase. Because remember, I talked about everything hinges upon you all getting into people's bubble. Well, this right here is telling you what is in people's bubbles. And it's, for a person like me, this is terrifying because I don't want to make content about any of this crap. Nothing on this page, literally nothing, interests me. Okay? Like that's a terrifying situation for me, because when I'm looking at what's in everybody's bubble, it's crap that I couldn't care less about. So I knew coming into YouTube, and actually I think I talked about this before, where I'd gotten some mentorship from one of the most prolific music artist agents in the history of hip hop. And I reached out to her and was just like, I need some help. And I was still a musician at this time. And I was like, I make this weird content that I don't think a ton of people are ever going to love. What do I do? Like, do I just give up? And she was like, no, you just have to understand that your ability to reach people is not going to be Jay-Z. So what you do is you have to build your audience at the grassroots level. You have to start getting people behind what you're doing, and you have to make friends. She's like, you basically have to make friends with all of the people who watch your content. So if you've ever heard me say the term, I don't like the term fans, I like the term friends. Well, that came from her mentorship. And it's true. Like, I don't like the word fan, but it was something that she taught me. It was like, you've got to make friends with your audience, because you need people who will vehemently support what you're doing in order to build a following, because it's going to be harder for you because you're not making things that are trendy. So for those of you that don't want to be trendy, this will at least show you what is trending, so that to some degree you can incorporate something that gives you an edge. Like Minecraft, I have incorporated, with the help of Anna and Evan and Jolly Mage and Cosrico, I've incorporated Minecraft into the channel. I'm not skilled at Minecraft at all. Like, the only thing I'm good at in Minecraft is creative mode, where it's basically, I'm just coming up with crazy creative things to build, right? Like, I built Optimus Prime. That's what I'm good at in Minecraft. But essentially, not a ton of people cared to watch me build Optimus Prime, even though I thought I did a pretty good job of it. It just, what people are looking for in terms of Minecraft and mass appeal is something very different. But that's okay. I have a niche of people who are now interested in the Minecraft content. But I also brought other people onto the team who are helping me make Minecraft content that I could never think of to make. But they're helping my channel and helping their channels at the same time, by working with me and me working with them in this collaboration to build something that the people in the bubble will eventually want to watch. Now, granted, it's not going to necessarily fall on this page of 81 things that are trending, but this at least gives you an idea of where the bubble is. One of the coolest things about this particular tool is that this is in the past 24 hours. So this isn't like a whole lifetime thing. So what's cool is I can back up knowing that this is a Friday that it's showing me here. Or excuse me, this is Saturday that it's showing me. I can go back to Friday. And if you notice on Friday, it's quite a bit different. A lot less gaming content, even though some of the gaming content that's trending on Friday is the same stuff that was trending on Saturday. But so what I want you to do is just become an observation machine. Just come look around. Like, even if you're not necessarily trying to find what trend you're going to attack, think like a general for a second. Don't start thinking like a private on the battlefield. Think like a general. Like, what can I take away from what's trending on this page? The annoying orange, full speech, Donald Trump. Okay, Donald Trump. Like, be observant about what's going on here. Wifey training. Look at it in the macro. Like, what are people tuning in and watching on YouTube? And one of the takeaways you can look at here is most of what people are looking for in terms of what's trending is entertainment. So one of the things you could say about us channels who do more, enlightening or educational content, not that lots of people aren't looking for that, but not as many people are looking for that as are looking for entertainment. So you can start thinking about, well, how can I weave entertainment into what I'm doing as an educator? So this is something that Vsauce does very well, where his videos are very engaging, even though it's totally a science class. it's still very engaging the way that it's filmed to make it like it's entertainment. One of the reasons why I love Good Eats and Alton Brown is because the show is so corny and entertaining. But, you know, what I'm taking away from it is the knowledge, because I love getting knowledge. It's a part of my personality type. But I'm also being entertained at the same time because it's a mix between, you know, Monty Python and other cooking shows that he grew up watching. And it's fun. You know, it's corny, but it's fun. And so think about how can you weave the entertainment that people, because like I said, none of this crap would make me click on it. Like, I'm not interested in watching a single one of these videos because I'm wired very differently than the average person. So if you're like that, this is something you have to think about. So we go back to Thursday, a little bit more gaming content, but still people like the Diamond Minecart. Strangely enough, PewDiePie doesn't really trend. Like, I don't know if YouTube just doesn't trend his stuff because they just think it's not fair. They're like, just let somebody else trend. He's already won. Or if, you know, the stuff he's making just literally is not trending. And that's not to say that it doesn't. I just didn't see it here in the last couple of days. Okay, so now we're at Wednesday. And notice on Wednesday, people are looking at, you know, Colbert and her birthday present, which is a Ferrari. Or is that a Lamborghini? I think it's a Lamborghini. Obama acknowledges his politicized vote to filibuster Alito. So we're looking at a little bit more news flavor stuff on Wednesday. So on Hump Day, not as many people are looking just for entertainment. And this is just this week. This could be totally different on any other given week. But these are the things I want you to get used to observing as you're mapping out your strategies, right? So we got Pee Wee's Big Holiday here on Tuesday, right? Still gaming content. But if you notice, the gaming content that trends is all very samey. Like, there's no, you know, The Division. Tom Clancy's The Division review is not trending right now. It's all people being silly playing Minecraft videos. I assume they're being silly based on the thumbnails. I'm not watching the videos because I don't care. We come back to Monday. And here's the thing with Monday. If you follow journalism, Monday is the day where they try to break some of the biggest stories too. Like, it's like everyone's coming back from the weekend. Bam! Everyone wants to be the first one to get the news out there on a Monday or a Tuesday. So like the Star Wars Episode 8 production announcement hits on Monday. 35 seconds, 9 million views, blammo. Okay? Just a couple things you want to consider, but this is definitely a valuable tool. You can see TNT with Minecraft. Minecraft, craziest map ever. TNT parkour with Preston. Preston plays. Look at him. He's playing. He's having a good time. So all my joking and sarcasm aside, just these are some things you want to come here and be observant and think about how you can incorporate what's being said and what's being shown into your channel strategy. Okay. And if you're a person who likes this type of entertainment, you're in a good space. Because you'll be able to use a lot of this to your advantage. Okay, so going back to the idea of what games do I play? It's a very great question. One of the first places I'd go is right here on YouTube Gaming. You can see the stuff that's recommended for me is stuff that I did. If you go over here on the little sidebar, it's going to show you the games that I own, but it's going to show you what's trending right now and how many people are actually broadcasting. So what this is going to show you, very similar to the AdWords tool, is what's trending and how much competition you have. So Tom Clancy's The Division, and I imagine this is the beta, not the actual game because it's not out yet. Tom Clancy's The Division, trending, right? 100 people broadcasting it. So you getting in there with 100 other people, maybe not. Maybe you won't have as great a time as the Dying Light folks will. You know, Naruto Shippuden, I think that's how you say that. I don't know. I'm not a Naruto fan. But then Firewatch. But this is basically showing you all of the games that are trending on YouTube right now. And then what are the popular games on YouTube like? So this is over time what has proven to be the game. So this is what's hot right now in terms of who's streaming what right now the most. And this is kind of over time. So you're going to see Grand Theft Auto 5 is going to be huge. It's always Grand Theft Auto, like even San Andreas still trends very well. Like if I go back to the Google tool over here, and let's say I actually do a search. Let's do Grand Theft Auto San. Should that come up automatically? So if I click on this, this is something else really cool that this tool does, is it actually shows you how well. Look at this, man. This thing has been trending literally for 12 years. on Google. That is consistency, okay? So that's something that you take note of. Like Grand Theft Auto games are going to trend forever. Now, granted, like if you compare this, and this is one of the great things about this tool as well, Grand Theft Auto, if I do 4, I don't think 4 does quite as well as San Andreas, but it still does pretty well. And look at the patterns here. It follows the exact same pattern. It's huge, and it drops off, and then something else happens to make it huge, which is probably launching the online. Grand Theft Auto 4 did the exact same thing, follows the same trajectory. It's just a little bit less popular. And then if you do Grand Theft Auto 5, right? Exact same thing. And it's still trending much higher than the other two, but it's, the newest game. So these are things where you can start using the tools in conjunction with one another. But then you come down here and look at what's popular. You're going to get a couple more options. Are you a League of Legends player? FIFA is huge on YouTube. There's channels just dedicated to playing FIFA. I told my cousin to start one because he's actually really good at the game. Then there's Black Ops 3 and Destiny, Counter-Strike. You get the point. Coming down here. But again, this puts someone like me in an interesting place because none of these are games that I would want to play. I have to go all the way down to, where am I? I'm actually surprised Witcher 3 isn't trending better because usually it trends pretty well, at least in Google search, but it's not coming up right now in terms of popular games on YouTube. And that's because The Witcher 3 has actually been declining. It's not quite as popular, obviously, as it was, but it'll get popular again when some DLC comes out. But if you notice, Fallout 4 is not on here either. So, Fallout 4 had a big, like if you're looking at back at this tool, Fallout 4 had a big swing like this and then fell completely off. It was like, we're done. Okay, so this is another area where you can come and figure out what's hot and what's going on. But this is informing what game should I play next. And it doesn't necessarily have to be one of the games on here, but maybe it's a game similar to one of the games on here, and then you can go back to the trending tool and see how well the game you want to play trends. Just for the love of the game, let's do Shrek 2 video game, since I talk about it all the time. And negative. Nobody cares. See what I mean? It's not just me talking smack. Literally nobody cares about this game. Nobody ever cared about it. No one's ever going to care about it. And even just in case you think I'm stacking the deck here, let's remove all of the other trending games. Because, this whole chart is relative trending. So if you have something like Minecraft on here, you put anything against Minecraft, it's going to come up with 0. Okay, so Shrek 2 was hot, back in 2004 for like a hot second, and then nobody cared. And nobody's going to care ever again. But again, if I compare this to, let's say, I don't know, Minecraft. Let's do something lesser than Minecraft just to try to make it fair. And nobody cares. Literally, like it had a little bump right here. Is that a 1? No, it's still 0 because nobody. Oh, no, it's 1. Because it still trends slightly better than Fallout 4, 10 years ago when Fallout 4 didn't exist. Okay, another good tool for coming up with what games you may want to play next that I think is Steam Spy. Okay, and if you're not familiar with this, this is actually a really wonderful tool for a lot of different reasons. So this is what I come to when I'm thinking about what Steam game do I want to play next. And I usually just stay here on the first page just to see what's hot. And this changes. They update it every day. So stuff moves around. But as you can see, I'm currently working on Dragon's Dogma for a review. I'm also going to do a live stream at some point playing it. And so here it is. It's number 15 in terms of what's trending. But not just looking at what's trending from a visual perspective, but let's actually get down to the numbers. And this is what I love most about this tool. How many people own it and have bought the game? But more importantly, for my YouTubers, I can click on the YouTube tab and I can see how many people made videos here on the right. And I can see how many views that got over here on the left. And that, to me, that is absolutely amazing. So back on January 29th, 426,633 people viewed a YouTube video with Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen. And you can see the trends here. It got, it came down a little bit and then it shot up to 500,000 and then it completely fell off And now nobody's really watching it. But if you were trying to get ahead of the game, like when the game first came out, you'd be good getting content in here if you knew how to position it properly with good sub-market SEO. Obviously you couldn't just throw up Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen because bigger channels with more authority would take your spot from you. But if you could find something unique about it, like I did with The Division, and is this a good RPG? Or I wrote The Division. The Division is not a good RPG. That's something that makes that video still today rank and get views. So you can totally take advantage of the fact that, over the course of a week, 4 million people watch videos related to this. And you can see how many people are making videos every day. Okay, so, and 50 here, I imagine, is just the max. There's probably more than 50 people making videos, or how many videos, not people. So how many videos were released this day? 47. None were released on this day for some reason. I have no idea why. But we're back up to 50, but now we're down here to 33,000. So now you got 50 videos competing for 33,000 total views. Now, I cannot speak to the accuracy of these charts. I don't know how well this interfaces with YouTube's API, but it's relative, at least. So at least at the end of the day, even if these numbers are completely wrong, they're all wrong in the same way. So if I'm comparing this to another game, I could see that the trends, even if it was 100,000 views and not 500,000, I could still look at another game and compare it and get an apples to apples comparison. Even if, so just take these numbers as somewhat notional, although I imagine it is interfaced with the API and it's getting some level of relevant data. Maybe the data isn't accurate to the day that it's tracking, but it's probably pretty accurate overall. Okay. And in all the games that I've researched, it makes sense. Like when you looked at Fallout 4 when it was first coming out, it was like 6 million views a day with people watching Fallout 4 content. And then, as it got down here, it fell off, maybe not all the way down to 33,000. But you can see that. This is why I love this tool so much, because it's showing you what's trending well on YouTube, not just what's trending well in terms of Steam sales. And for you Twitch folks, you can also see how it's doing on Twitch. And Twitch is quite a bit more volatile in terms of how many people upload videos, this orange line here, and how many total views it gets. Obviously, Twitch gets a lot less views than YouTube, but that's just the nature of the game. So let's back up out of here and let's just compare that. So that was number 15, right? Let's compare it to the game that's number 1 right now for some ungodly reason, American Trucker situation. But yeah, 2 million people are lining up to watch American Truck Simulator, which is insane to me, but hey, that's cool. So this is what's trending right now. But again, this is giving you ideas in terms of what you could play. And the other beautiful part is it's not just the list of the best trending things. Let's go to Firewatch. That's one that everyone was really interested in. I really don't have any interest in it, but let's go here for the sake of awesomeness. So yeah, 12 million people watching Firewatch, and no signs of slowing down too heavily. And Firewatch had like a slow build, like nobody gave a crap about it, and all of a sudden, bow, it just took off, right? So you can see those trajectories. But one of the things I love about this tool, again, is not just that it's listing. I think it goes all the way up to 100. Yeah, it does right here. You can see it goes 1 to 100 in terms of what's the top trending game right now. But I can also do this here. So if you're like me and you like games that are a little bit more obscure, I can do Two Worlds Epic Edition. Actually, I don't think I can do that search here. I have to do that search here. I can do Two Worlds Epic Edition because that's my joint, one of my favorite games. And it'll pull up any game that you search for and games that are like it so that you can do comparison with games that are kind of in its wheelhouse or in its league. Okay, so a lot of people have bought it. I mean, there's over 1 million people that own this game. But go to YouTube. Well, 80 views here. Those are probably all mine, by the way. Like all these views, if it's accurate, are probably people watching my stuff. Because did I put out something on? No, somebody else put a video out on the 12th. But I guarantee you some of these views are mine because I'm still getting a couple thousand views a month for across all of my Two Worlds content. So that's the really interesting part, but this tool is really excellent in terms of helping you not just decide what games to play, but to evaluate the games that you want to play to see if it makes sense for you to play them. Okay, really great tool. Now, two other tools, and this is really more just about observation. Like I said, I want you to become an awareness and observation machine. Two other tools that you may not be thinking to use if you're a console player are your consoles. Now, granted, I don't have Xbox Live, and I'm not going to log into my PlayStation and try to make this video more complicated than it needs to be. But take a look at what's going on Xbox One's Xbox Live page. Here's what's most popular. No surprises there at all. Literally no surprises, although I'm slightly surprised that this isn't beating out Black Ops 3. Games that are coming out. Why did they choose these games to highlight? I imagine they're not the only games that are getting ready to come out, but as a website that's trying to sell you something, and that's what you want to really pay attention to, as a website that's trying to sell you something, they're going to show you what they want you focused on. And I imagine what they want you focused on are what they think is going to sell well. And if something's going to sell well, chances are it's going to view well on YouTube as well. So you want to take a look at these things. And here's something that would totally catch my eye, like the first thing we've come across that I'm hyper about. It's just coming soon. Like what I was hoping to get here was a release date. This is actually the game, just as a side note, friendly conversation piece. This is the game that may make me get an Xbox One because I loved the original Crackdown so much. Okay, but then come down here, Xbox 360, games that you can play on Xbox One. So here is something I want you to pay very close attention to. These games are coming out on Xbox One, becoming playable. And there's going to be people who want to go out and purchase these games to be able to play them, right? If they don't already own them. Would be a decent idea to do reviews for games in a timely fashion when they're launching. Okay? Would be a very good idea because people are going to be paying attention when another game gets announced. Like, let's say the next game they announce is going to be, I don't know, what's a good Xbox 360 game that's not listed here? Fallout New Vegas, let's say, is going to be the next playable game. Probably would make sense to have a Fallout New Vegas video ready to go. Like I already have one. I have a review. That would probably get a bump in views because people are looking for it. And I think my review does okay. It didn't do gangbusters with views. But then featured games. Why are these games featured? What made these games special? Well, I imagine they're featured because they probably either sold well or they're games that Xbox is really trying to push and sell. Maybe they're getting some kickbacks from a license agreement to get it on their platform. We don't know. But we do want to pay attention to these things. And then we start getting into categories. Think about why they are showcasing the games they're showcasing. Why? Well, because they're the most popular, best-selling games on the platform, arguably. And if they're the best-selling, best performing games on the platform, they're probably doing well on YouTube as well. Okay? So definitely you don't need to come to the website. I don't have an Xbox One, so I can't log in and show that to you. And that would be a pain trying to switch between filming a video on my PC and firing up a console anyway. But just log in to your Xbox One and look at all the things it's trying to sell you. That's going to be a good indication of something that maybe you want to take. And then, always refer back to the trends and the keyword search tool to verify your hunches. So now you don't have to just make guesses in the dark about what you think is going to work. You can actually tie mathematics to it. And that's what the whole point of this video is, in showing you these tools, is not just to give you a bunch of good ideas, but to empower you, if you have a good idea, to come back and check the mathematics against it. Same thing goes for guys like me who are PlayStation players. So, I would log into my PlayStation. I wouldn't necessarily do it here from the website. And I don't want to see movies. I only want to see games. But just look at what it's showing me here. So there's a racing bundle from Codemasters. There's the Digimon. This is like when I logged in earlier today, this was all over the place. This Digimon Cyber Sleuth stuff that's going on. Call of Duty Black Ops 3 Awakening. So look at what it's trying to sell you. There's a reason why this stuff is hot. Okay, and then come here to, so if I go to all games, now this is going to show you what I think released most recently, or things that you can now pre-order because the pre-order is available. think that's pretty much how this works. So this isn't necessarily going to tell you anything in terms of what's trending other than a game is getting ready to come out. However, let's just do PS4 for now, right? But then let's come down here to, let's come out of all games. I wanted to look at something else. All right, so day one digital only, indies, free to play, ultimate. PS2 games, very similar to what I just showed you on Xbox One, would be a good idea to start playing these games. And then tying it back again to the keyword search tool to see which ones are doing well in terms of trending and Google and YouTube search. You know, might not be a bad idea to go ahead and get that review of Rogue Galaxy. I actually consider doing that, pulling out my Rogue Galaxy from the shelf and doing a, because I already own the game. I wouldn't necessarily have to buy this one. I can just review the one I already own. So, pull that off the shelf, play it, maybe do a live stream or two, and then do a review. I'm still considering doing Grand Theft Auto San Andreas as kind of a surprise to the channel because I always talk about how much I hate Grand Theft Auto, but it's one of the best games on the planet, apparently, according to trends. So I've wanted to see what all the fuss is about. It was the same thing I did. Now, the reason why I haven't pulled the trigger on that is because I did the same thing with Grand Theft Auto 5 and ended up hating it. Just like I hated Grand Theft Auto 3, and I was like, maybe I'll just pass. But I'm just giving you an insight into the way my psyche works with, an example of where this worked for me in the past is when Suikoden 2 came out on PlayStation 3 on the PlayStation Store. I bought it immediately because it was a game that I desperately wanted to play because I love the original Suikoden. I love the spirit of the game, the atmosphere of the game. So I played it, ended up not loving it quite as much. I've evolved a little bit in my tastes, but I do a review that's maybe a month after the game came out, and that review is still like the best performing review of the game on YouTube. I think there may be one other video that beats me out, and I'm not even sure if it's a review, at least the last time I checked. I did an Arc the Lad video, not a review, but for how awkwardly obscure this game is, it got a lot of engagement on that video. Not a ton of views. Not even as many views as a channel my size should probably get for a video that we create, but it wasn't really targeted at my audience. When they look at RPGs, they're not thinking Arc the Lad, but it showed me that the fact that there's a lot of people hyped, and I did it before the game actually came out here. Okay, just a couple of things to talk about, and then TubeBuddy. All I'm showing you this for is I want you to go get it and get the free version. I know I talked about that in a previous video, but I'm actually wanting to show it to you now to say, hey, this is what it is. Booyaka, right? This is where I want you to go get the free one. You don't need the paid one. Like I said in the previous video, I've had access to the one you have to pay for. It's not necessary for where your channel is right now. You don't need to pay for the extra features. They're extra gravy, but they're not changing the world. Okay, so that covers the tools portion. And I realize I've been talking for almost an hour here, but I think it's essential that I show you guys this stuff because this is really kind of the meat and potatoes that I think all of you signed up for is what the heck does this guy do to make stuff work, right? What are the tips and tricks that he can teach me that are going to help me accelerate? Well, this is some of them. So let's transition. We've talked about tools. I also want to talk about tips and tricks. Okay, and one of the first tips, and tips and tricks that are synonymous here. I'm not like separating them into two separate categories. So you heard me talk about this thing called launch jacking. Let's go back to Google search here, and hopefully this is going to work. Let's go Dragon Quest. You've seen this in a previous video. No, Dragon Quest, not question. Builders walkthrough, right? And like I showed you before, I am the second video that's here. The reason why I'm able to rank, and this is important because this is Google, not YouTube search. Google is quite a bit harder to rank in, right? So what I did here was when I heard Dragon Quest Builders was coming out several months ago, I was immediately intrigued by it. And the reason why is because it's a game that I wanted to play. Like, it's an RPG, first of all, but it's a Minecraft, kind of a Minecraft clone RPG, which is something that I've desperately wanted to play for many years. Like, I've played Minecraft. It's cool, but I wish it had role-playing game elements. And honestly, I wish it was a little bit more simplistic in terms of the amount of information you need to manage to be good at surviving in Minecraft. I've never really wanted to put in the work to understand the systems, like to build smelters and remember that I got to take 7 million torches with me when I leave the house. Like, it's basically a game that has a lot of chores in it. Things that usually get a little bit tedious to me, which is why I've always focused on Minecraft Creative. But this was a game that was going to be the best of both worlds. It was going to have the elements of Minecraft that I love, but at the same time give me a role-playing game skinned on top of it, and also simplify some of the Minecrafty parts of the game. So I'm all in. So what I do is I wait, and I find out through some of the media that I keep up with in terms of journalism that, hey, Japan is getting a demo for this game. So I'm thinking, okay, here's how we're going to do this. I'm going to go get the demo, the Japanese demo, and I'm going to do a live stream of it with my son playing it with me, such that we can do what's called launch jacking. You heard me say it at the beginning of the video, and I think I've mentioned it in previous videos. I'm going to get this demo video out before the game drops. Not for people in Japan, but because I know people in the States are going to be curious about it. And the minute they hear in the news that, because all the RPG sites are going to say, Dragon Quest Builders dropped today in Japan, here's an article about it, people are going to start looking for it. So I put my video out about 2 days, I think, before the launch date. And sure enough, it's ranked in Google almost immediately. And it's getting, it doesn't do gangbusters because there's not, if you look up, let's do the math here. Dragon Quest Builders. Okay, so 8,000 people at all are looking for Dragon Quest Builders. It's not a very big pool of people, but I've been able to pull roughly about 1,000 of those views every month, which for my channel is really, really good because my channel is relatively small. But this is one of the ways where I can get content out there, I can get it ranked, and I can start to get views to trickle in, and those views will eventually stack up, more watch time, more importance, more relevance. Over time, the video keeps ranking. More and more people watch it. I get a couple more subscribers. But guess what's going to happen in the not too distant future? At least this is my prediction. Dragon Quest Builders is going to launch in the United States. And when it does, actually, I probably should have left that up. Let's go Dragon Quest Builders walkthrough. Somebody's going to search that in Google. Nobody's searching that now. Like if I do this in the Google search tool, it's going to come up with 0. But somebody's going to search it and they're going to say, hey, this guy did a 2-hour playthrough. I'd like to check that out. Now they'll probably check out the 13-minute one first because attention spans are what they are. But here's the beautiful part. Come to YouTube and do Dragon Quest Builders. Leave the walkthrough off. And would you look there? Guess who's in second place? Your boy. Okay, this is going to happen eventually. America's going to get a launch date, which is going to cause people to look, and then I'm going to get more views, and then that's going to take my watch time up. That's going to take my subscribers up. That's going to take my audience retention up, thus causing this video to be even more relevant than it is right now. And look, it's ranking better than IGN. Now, the reason why it's ranking better than IGN is simply because it's newer and I get better engagement. That's all. Like over time, this will probably balance out and IGN will slowly trickle back up to the top once this is no longer a hot topic. But it's going to be a hot topic for a while because I launch jacked. I got it out before Japan and I got it out before the United States. And guess what? Once upon a time, this is going to release in the United States and a bunch more people, a lot more than 8,000 are going to come looking for it because they're interested in it. And you're going to be like, okay, I'm going to watch this guy's video and see what's happening. More views, more watch time, more audience retention, more subscribers. Okay, launch jacking, getting the videos out before the time. One of the other ways I launch jacked, I don't know if this still ranks because it's been a very long time, but let's do Dying Light Free Roam. That keyword phrase right there is what earned me probably 1,000 of the almost 10,000 subscribers that I have right now. So I'm no longer ranked. Here's me. I used to be ranked on the first page of Google search for that. Dying Light Free Roam. This keyword phrase that I targeted right there made me a lot of subscribers just off this one video. I was getting upward, like if I had kept doing Let's Plays, which I wasn't enjoying, I was already over the point where I was getting 1,000 subscribers a month, and it was continuing to grow. The challenge is I stopped because the game got on my nerves, and I was like, I don't want to play this anymore because the game, I just don't like it. And so it killed my viewership, and that was around the same time where I started transitioning almost more full-time into doing the stuff you're listening to now. So did it stunt my growth? Yes. But remember, we want Pareto efficiencies. We want win-win. I didn't want to lose to win. But this was a video that this video in particular wasn't a launch jack, but I had released 6 other videos before this one, before the release date of Dying Light. So this is why it's important for you to watch my video on how to get review copies of games so that you can get them early and get your videos up early. Launch jacking, okay? That's the long and short of what launch jacking is. Now, let's also talk about, and I didn't make launch jacking up. This is something I've heard from other marketing, social media and online marketing experts out there. It's kind of who I learned it from. But this one I did make up. I'm doing a search for it. Aftermarket jacking. So let's do The Witcher 3. All right. Do I rank for just The Witcher? I'm not sure if I rank. Oh, sorry, kids. Not safe for work. Let's do a review. Yes. So I usually bounce between 3rd and somewhere down here under Conan. Okay, depending on the time of day, depending on how many views I got that day, how much watch time I got. But with my little piddly 3,000 views, I'm competing with Conan O'Brien, Game Trailers, GameSpot, IGN, and Angry Joe. The most popular review spots on the internet when it comes to video games. Arguably, Conan O'Brien isn't a top review spot, but he's Conan O'Brien. So when he does a video making fun of something, people watch it. And gamers watch his videos because they're funny and they love. It's a way to see the game early because he gets the stuff mad early. But the point is, this is what I call aftermarket jacking. So I know I'm releasing my Witcher 3. So if you look, everyone got theirs out 9 months ago, right? Angry Joe got his out 8 months ago. So they got their reviews out either right before or right around the game's launch. I am 7 months late to the party. How am I still ranked? What I call aftermarket jacking. What I'm doing here is it's not the Witcher 3 Wild Hunt review which is catching everybody, even though that is the keyword phrase, the Witcher 3, the Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, the Witcher 3 Wild Hunt review, the Witcher 3 review, Witcher 3 review. These are all search phrases that I am ranking for, and I specifically targeted when I did this review. What I went after was the best RPG of all time. That is the audience I'm actually trying to grab. Okay? So if you go back to the titles video, you can see there I've got keywords up front, I've got additional context, and the additional context is the enticing part. But, I told you guys to keep your stuff short and sweet. That's why I also put it into the thumbnail. It is essential that you get your thumbnails helping to spread your message. And it needs to be big enough so that when the icon is shrunk down, they can read the best. So someone's going to see this and be like, the best RPG of all time, like I said in the earlier video. No, it's not. They're going to come and be angry, or someone's going to come and agree, whatever the case may be. But the reason why I'm able to rank 7 months after the fact is, 1, it's a new video. 2, I targeted very specific keyword search phrases. In this particular case, the best RPG of all time is one of the search phrases I ranked for, or Witcher 3, greatest of all time. So there are people who are having that discussion, who are finding my video, watching it, giving me watch time, and then eventually YouTube's like, well, dang it, this guy is doing gangbusters on these other search terms. Let's promote him with the Witcher 3 review as well. And there's no mistake why I spelled out the Witcher 3 Wild Hunt in my review, okay? Like if you notice, he just did the Witcher 3 because he can get away with that. I want the whole, this is a long tail keyword phrase, okay? And I went long tail because it's easier to compete on this than it is to compete on the Witcher 3 review. So if I do Witcher 3, and I'm not even sure that's right, let's verify, Wild Hunt review, where do I rank now? About the same, okay? About the same. So that's aftermarket jacking. If I'm going to come late to the party, I have to bring something to the party that's going to make people want to stay. That's the point of aftermarket jacking. Awesomeness. So you're with me so far. Now, the other things I want to show you, I've got a couple other trying to think the order I want to do the rest of this in. Here's another little trick you can do depending on the type of content you do. Fallout 4 versus Witcher 3. This is another good thing to try to rank for, okay? And this is what I call buyer's intent. So the reason why this is a good idea, let's do Witcher 3 versus Fallout 4. I don't think I rank for this. I think I did target it, but I don't rank for it. The reason why you want to do the versus stuff is because you are basically attacking it from the perspective of what internet marketers would call buyer's intent. Okay. And so, and I do rank. I'm on the second page. Not doing awesome, but I'm doing okay. For, you know, a title, it's not even in my title. That's not doing too terribly. The reason why this is a good thing to target, if you can, and if it's, you know, congruent with the content that you're creating, is because people who are doing this search are on the verge of buying something. So they have $60 to spend. They can't decide whether or not they want Witcher 3 or Fallout 4. And so instead of typing in Witcher 3 review, Fallout 4 review, they're going to just type in Witcher 3 versus Fallout 4. So it's good if you're doing a review, let's say, to try to rank for your game versus another popular game that came out somewhere near the same time that's a similar type of game. So two RPGs going head to head, right? You got what I'm saying. So what you're doing there is you're taking advantage of buyer's intent. Somebody doing this search is most likely getting ready to spend money. So they're going to be paying attention to what you say, which is going to help your watch time. And it's going to help your audience retention as well, because they're going to care about what you have to say to try to make this comparison. Now, I don't remember if I specifically talk about Fallout 4. I think I do in my review to make it congruent, but it's really just about taking advantage of the fact that I know people are going to be searching this, and I didn't really like Fallout 4, and so I mentioned it in this review, you know, and I think I mentioned it in my Fallout 4 review as well, how much I like The Witcher 3 better. But, you know, just one other thing you can think of. Okay, so last trick, and this is really a cool one. I need to pull something else onto the screen here. You're going to get to look at my pretty face here for a hot second. If I can, oh, nope, doesn't want to cooperate. Okay, so if any of you, no, I look ridiculous. Look at this. Uh-oh, it's not keeping up. It's not keeping up. If any of you watched my Fallout 4 or my Witcher 3 review, there's a good picture. Awesome. If you want, you may have noticed that it broadcasted live. Okay? And so a lot of people came and watched my Witcher 3 review while it was broadcasting, and they were talking. It was a live stream, and I was interacting with the crowd. What a lot of people probably don't know is that the show was never live. Okay? It was broadcasting live, but I was not doing the review live. I had pre-recorded it, and so I just put it on the screen here in full screen mode, went over to my capture device of choice. In this particular case, we're using OBS. Hello, people. And so what I did was I set up a stream, did all of the pre-setup on YouTube, you know, named it, titled it, had the, you know, I had the description already written out, all the tags, the titling, the thumbnail, had everything picked out. And so I scheduled the stream for like 30 minutes after I got everything set up so I can, you know, go get a cup of tea, get ready, get set up. And so what I do is basically I set up everything on YouTube, and then I hit stream. And then as soon as I hit stream, I come over here, click, press the space bar, and I start talking, right? And so everybody's watching this thinking that I'm actually broadcasting live, but I'm not, okay? I'm broadcasting the video live, but the video is pre-recorded. Now, the reason why that's important for you to know is this is also part of the reason why I was able to get my Witcher 3 video to rank at all. It wasn't just aftermarket jacking. It was actually a perfect storm of things that were going on. I launched The Witcher 3 live because what a lot of people have figured out, but a lot of people have also not figured out. And this is why it's going to help you. I want you to take advantage of it while you still have time, because eventually I think YouTube's search engine is going to catch on and stop doing this. For whatever reason right now, when you broadcast something live, YouTube automatically puts it on the front page of search for whatever search terms you are trying to rank for. Okay? So, what does that mean? Well, it means my Witcher 3 review, at least for the 10 minutes that it was broadcasting live, was ranking first or maybe second in YouTube search. So if anybody happened to come by that night, they saw it. But the beautiful thing is it automatically gets a ton more watch time, because I think a total of about 30 people, or actually over the course of the whole video, it was about, I think 200 people came and watched it, but 30 people all at the same time were there, for like the duration of the video, which gives it a ton of watch time right off the break. Because now you don't just have one person trickling in and watching and another person comes and watch it. You have 20 people watching a 10-minute video. Your watch time goes through the roof the first day you broadcast. And like I've been telling you guys from the jump, watch time and audience retention are king. Well, content is king, but in terms of ranking your video with just tactical SEO, that watch time and audience retention is king. And so that's what you have to consider, is when and under what circumstances can you broadcast your videos live instead of just uploading them? Even if it's a Let's Play, you could totally just put the Let's Play on the screen, hit stream, press play, and then you may have to do like some after editing where, it starts a half a second or 2 seconds later than the stream actually starts. I've had to do that. It's not a big deal. It's an easy fix. You just go into, the settings, you make the changes, the enhancements, and you're done. Right? It's an awesome way, especially for a smaller channel, to start boosting watch time, to start taking advantage. And so, the term there that I use is live stream everything. I've gotten to the point where I almost don't do static recordings for anything. Almost everything I do is live streaming now. Now, granted, I will do live streams and then do static recordings after the fact, kind of like clips, so people don't have to watch a 2-hour live stream. But pretty much every video that I upload now, except obviously for Academy stuff, because I don't want people watching that. You guys are paying to see it privately. I'm uploading as a live stream, and it's getting me a ton of watch time right off the break. Now, granted, my channel may be bigger than some of yours, so I have an audience to pull from. But tell your audience, send them a message on social media, or if you keep an email list, which I do recommend you do, shoot out an email and say, hey, tomorrow night I'm broadcasting my Witcher 3 review live. And then they'll be there. You'll have more people there to watch it, which will boost your watch time, boost your audience retention, and thus help your video rank. Will it rank forever? Probably not, depending on what you created and how relevant and important it is in terms of what's trending. But it'll rank that night, and it'll definitely rank better than if you hadn't live streamed it. Is it guaranteed 100%? Not necessarily, because, if you live stream Shrek 2, probably not going to get a ton of views except for people that think it's hilarious that you're streaming Shrek 2, but you get the point. So definitely want to take advantage of using that trick. It's not a trick that I share with a ton of people. I keep some things under my belt because this is YouTube is still a competition. Don't get it twisted. This isn't, I do help a lot of people and I aim to help a lot of people. But you still want to keep some level of a competitive edge, which is, another reason why I wanted to create an academy was I can start passing this stuff on to folks who I think are ninjas who will use it for good and not just to, help manipulate the system so that they can be lazy. One of the things that's frustrated me about making this type of content on the free side of the house is that ultimately it attracts lazy people who don't want to work. They're just looking for an easy or a free lunch and, hey, teach me a trick, so I can make this easy and turn this into my job and not do any work. And it's totally not focused on viewers and helping viewers or enriching their lives. It's totally focused on just, how many views can I get so I can get my AdSense check, which I'm not necessarily saying is wrong. It's just not the way I roll. So hopefully you all have taken something good away from these tools, these tips, and these tricks. very competitive stuff here. And just keep in mind the live streaming everything trick. I don't know how long that's going to work for. So start taking advantage of it now. I talked to the people at Google about live streaming. They are putting a much bigger focus on live streaming. And I think it's going to get to the point where live streaming has a very pronounced presence on YouTube, to the point where maybe it even overtakes static content. And I could be wrong about that, but I just get the idea, like, they would not be promoting live content. Like, it's like they're almost incentivizing, like, please do live content so we can promote your stuff, which is why, once I realized that's what was going on when I went to the YouTube conference, when I was still kind of mapping out the YouTube Gamers Academy in my brain, I was like, I totally got to start telling people about this. You know what I mean? And there's going to be improvements that, they couldn't go into detail, about what was going to change specifically, because they're under non-disclosure agreements. Like, there's things that I know that, I have a non-disclosure agreement for certain things that I can't talk about, but I can tell you what they have told me is that there's even more good stuff that's coming, not just to YouTube, but to the live streaming portion of it. So hopefully you guys took something really good away from what we had to discuss tonight. I know this video was rather long, but hopefully you found it very valuable. You're going to start putting these tools to work for you. Start using mathematics to help you make your decision, not just hunches and guesses. Definitely hunch, guess, and hypothesize. But use the tools available to you to put mathematics to your hypothesis, and experiment. Everything I'm sharing with you is not 100% guarantee that you're going to have 1 million subscribers tomorrow. But make no mistake, there's a reason why you're starting to see certain types of content come out on my channel, and why you're seeing so much live streaming. Okay, that's not on accident. It's not because I just decided, hey, I want to live stream. Now, part of it is I love live streaming way more than doing static content. But part of it is, too, I've learned from talking to Google and being in their conferences that, hey, they take live streaming seriously, so maybe we should too. But again, start thinking about launch jacking. Start getting early access to games. And if you're a smaller channel, you don't think you can get somebody to give you the latest Batman AAA game, fine. Start with small games. Because here's the really cool part. If you get early access to a game on Steam, going back to the launch jacking, if you get early access to a cool game on Steam that has a cool developer who's connected, has good PR resources, they're going to promote the video for you, because it's in their best interest to promote your video, because they want the world to get the visibility, especially if you make a really good video. So, like, a recent example of that for me was The Aquatic Adventure of the Last Human. I loved the game, and it was a cool game that a lot of people had their eye on. I got early access to it. Because they asked me, yo, do you want to play this? I was like, not only do I want to play it, yo, give me early access to it so I can get it out before you launch. They're like, yo, that's a great idea. Boom, here you go. I put the video out within, I think, 48 hours. They started blasting it all over social media, followed me on Facebook. Like, you'll make friends and advocates with the people who are developing the games of the future. Now, a lot of the times on Steam, the folks who are going to be willing to give you a game are going to be folks that aren't connected. It's not necessarily going to help you, but you can also help them. Remember, it's about give, not just take. Okay. So start putting my other tools and other tips that I've taught you to use. Start getting early access to games and start asking. Like, get in the practice of asking, because it's going to do two things for you. One, it's going to get you used to asking and getting used to the rejection so that you're not afraid of it. It gets you to the point where it's like, you've been rejected 6 times. Who cares? It no longer hurts your feelings. You know what I mean? One of my boys, kind of my big brother when I was in college, I was never good at, like, talking to girls, like, not in an awkward antisocial way, but I'm so direct that I never had the spit game to me, like the cool things to say to chicks. Like, I just walk up to ladies and be like, hey, yo, let's hang out or something, because my mind is so literal. But, he taught me when he was growing up, what made him good with the ladies was his older brothers. What they would do is drive him to the mall, drop him out of the van, and say, you do not get a ride home until you get 50 girls' numbers. And so he'd have to go around the mall saying, hey, miss, I think I like the way you look. Can I call you sometime? And so what it did for him is it got him over because some of those ladies are going to reject him, but some aren't, right? And so what that did for him is it made it so that he was no longer afraid to ask, because he wasn't afraid to get rejected because he knew rejection was part of the game. So ask the AAA developers. Just say, yo, I'm a part of a big gaming community. I roll with, some other popular creators. I make content. I'm up and coming, but I'm hungry, and I'd very much like to review your game. It's one of my most favorite game series of all time, and I'd love the opportunity to review it or live stream it or let's play it on my channel. But here's what's going to happen. Even if you get rejected, it's going to get you used to asking. It's going to make you practice. It's going to make you better at writing the emails such that you can pitch your value. The other thing it's going to do for you is it's going to put your name on their mind. Even though they deal with thousands of people like you, if they keep seeing email, and now granted, don't email them every week asking for games because then you're just going to make them angry. But you start asking people for games, people are going to start remembering you. You'll end up on a mailing list at some point. So for example, the contact I have at Square Enix came from when I was talking to them about copyright permissions. And, I emailed the same girl that wrote me back. I said, hey, by the way, are you handling PR for, Just Cause 3 and Star Ocean 5? She's like, oh, I'm not doing Just Cause 3, but I am doing Star Ocean 5. I said, hey, could you please, I know you guys probably have a ton of people to work with, but could you please put me on the list for that and Final Fantasy 15? Because I'd love to review them. Star Ocean 5 is literally my favorite, Japanese role-playing game series of all time. If you're doing a deluxe, like special edition, please consider giving me access to that. And she was like, yeah, totally. I'll put you on the list. Can't promise you anything, but we'll do our best. She remembers me. Okay. And it may still end up in rejection, but it doesn't matter. It's gotten me used to pitching my value and making the networking connections in the industry so that I can do what I need to do. Years ago, when I was still writing reviews, I made friends. And some of you guys may not know him because you're younger than me, but, I became kind of casual friends and acquaintances with Dan Shu. And if you don't know who Dan Shu is, I kind of recommend you look him up because he was one of the most prolific gaming journalism guys in history. He was the predecessor to all the Greg Millers, like all the people who are popular right now. He was their sensei. He was who I grew up reading when I was in middle school and high school. He started off as an editor at Electronic Gaming Monthly and then climbed up the ranks, became the editor-in-chief, took over for Crispin Boyer over at Electronic Gaming Monthly. And that's before the internet was a thing. This was in the days of people still subscribed to magazines. And I grew up reading his stuff and loving his reviews. Well, fast forward 15 years later, and he starts his own business, his own company, and he opens it up to the public. And I pitch, I'm like, hey, I've been writing this and this and this. I get an opportunity to write for him. And actually one of the articles I did to him was so dope that he's the one that edited it. And like he sent me an email, this is really good, dude. We're going to publish this on the front page. It's going to be awesome. I'm like, oh, it's so dope. So you never know who you're going to run into. You never know who your work is going to, like my work wasn't dope, like journalist dope. The content and the context was dope. The writing, I'm not a full-time writer. I just happen to be decent at it. You know what I mean? But with his editing skills and my ability to come up with the idea, we had a really dope article at the time. And, when I did my music album, he's actually mentioned in it. So he helped me sell my hip hop album. You know what I mean? And the reason why I'm telling you this backstory is because you need to get used to reaching out. You need to get used to using the tools and the people you have access to help you build your brand and build what you're doing here. Okay. And I'm tossing these things into these videos because I want to give you the most value possible. All right, so we still have an analytics video to talk about. In terms of the curriculum, we've got analytics to go over. And then we've got kind of the closeout. I'm going to wrap everything up. And then from there, I'll start probably doing ad hoc videos as I get something on my mind. But what I want you all to start thinking about too, as we come to the end of the curriculum piece of, these knowledge sessions, I want you to start thinking about questions. What are some things that you'd like me to make videos on for the Academy? Because I'm open to that. When I first started, I was like, I'm going to do an SEO series and maybe I'll do another series. And I was just kind of like, no, I just need to do the videos that are going to give you guys the most bang for your buck right now. You can implement today, start to get the acceleration you're looking for, get you on the right path, set the right foundation, and then you're off to the races, and then toss in things that I think are relevant. Like the analytics video is not necessarily SEO related, but it's something that you need to see to be able to measure your success and your failures. And I don't think there's really such thing as failure. I think there's just experiments in progress. Okay, so you're measuring the effectiveness of your experiments with analytics, figuring out what's working and sticking with that and focusing. But I do want to make room for questions that you have on your hearts and minds, to be able to make videos to respond to specific questions. Now, think about them before you ask them. Like if they're general questions that I've already made videos about, I probably won't remake a video. I'm also going to start piping in videos from other people who talk about topics at a higher level than I do, things that I think will ultimately help you out, and start giving you access to other people out there who are teaching these things at an even higher level than me. Like I said, it's not just about my knowledge, it's about where I'm getting the knowledge from and the people that I'm getting the knowledge from. And then I've got some information that I'm going to start passing on to you guys, some studies that I've found that I think are very helpful in terms of what's trending on YouTube, what works on YouTube, what's the most popular thing for men on YouTube, what's the most popular thing for women on YouTube, what's the best days to upload stuff based on this. There's a lot of cool stuff out there that I'm going to start sharing with you guys. I haven't started dumping that into the Facebook group yet because I don't want to distract you. Like I want to get through the knowledge sessions and then get into some of the extracurricular stuff. And then we'll also start working on what's going to happen here in the next couple of weeks is I'm going to start pairing you guys up to start doing long form, in-depth peer reviews. Okay. That's one of the things we're going to do as a group. And I've been slowly kind of checking out your channels, thinking about things I can, and some of you I've actually interacted with already outside of the group and just said, hey, like you've sent me a question on email. And can you check this thing out and give me some feedback? Sure. Here's what I have to say. So anyway, hope you took away a lot of good stuff from this particular video. I know what's on screen is probably kind of boring, but hopefully the things that we talked about today were very helpful for you. As always, you got questions, you know where to leave them on the Facebook group. Till next time, friends, until all are one, it's your boy BC. Thanks for watching. God bless you. And I'll see you next time.